You guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and it's been a minute since you seen my face, but them reviews been coming out, so you can't be too mad at me. Life has been lifing, okay? That is the only way I can explain it. Life has been lifing really hard. But we are here to recap and review Love and Marriage DC. I'm actually surprised that it was a decent reunion because, like I said, the season was a solid C plus or a C. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. It was average. It was moments. But let's get into this review. Okay, y'all know if I got tea or I see something on the timeline that I'm like, ooh, let's talk about it before we get into a review, we talk about it. So, y'all, all of this has to do with Monique, Winter, and Ashely. The first thing we're going to talk about is Monique having an interview with the Jasmine brand and trying to blame editing for why the people ain't gravitate to her the way she wanted them to. So, I'm going to play y'all the clip and then I'm going to give you my thoughts.
Fairly on this season? Do you feel like you were edited fairly on this season, in this show thus far?
Absolutely not. But I get it. Somebody had to keep the show going, and me coming in as a veteran in reality TV at this point, I get it. I do feel like a lot of my context was removed from the entire show. Every time there was a situation, you saw everybody else's reactions towards it. You rarely saw mine, which I feel like would have gave a lot more clarity to the situation. But I get it. It's because Carlos is also trying to establish new faces to TV on a new franchise. So he's trying to make sure that everybody else has their voice. It was almost like, let's pull the viewers in who have seen Monique on Potomac. And the whole promo was all about getting to know the real whole me, come over here. That was the bait, and then it was like, once you watch the show, it's like, oh, by the way, look at everybody else. Here's who we have to offer. You already know Monique. Here's everybody else. So I get it.
Okay.
So it's editing, Monique. You've been edited unfairly and a lot of your context was missing. Girl, bye. This is a thing with Monique. I told y'all this show was going to have the Portia effect on her. I told y'all it was going to have the Portia effect on her because Monique was only liked by people because of who she was beefing with and because she was in an adversarial role between the Green Eye Bandits and Candace. Same with Portia. A lot of people only like Portia because she was beefing with Kenya, Candy, and Nene. And once Portia got around her family and still exhibited the same antics, the only people who really was rocking with her was her diehard fans. Now, Monique has to deal with the fact that people don't really rock with her because it's a new group of ladies and she's still exhibiting the same antics. And it's like, oh, these antics aren't fun to watch if it's not against somebody I don't like. I like Ashely. I like Arena. I like Winter. And now it's hitting differently. It's hitting differently. And it's funny because I remember it was Arma mother getting on Twitter and on YouTube. And a lot of people who were going up for Monique, you would have thought they had a blood oath with that lady. The way people was acting, were going up for Monique, are now all of a sudden being like, dang, like I didn't see it. I didn't see it because I didn't like Candace, or I didn't see her be like this because I didn't like Giselle, or I didn't like Robin. And that's not to say or absolve Giselle or Robin of any of their faults, because I could take or leave them too. But it's very interesting to see people who are like, yo, she did the same thing to Candace, or she did the same thing to Charisse now that she's on a new show. And you can't keep blaming editing, bro. You just can't. You just can't. Like, if we're gonna call a thing, you just like you were on another show, another network. Now you're on a new network and a new show, and it's editing again. It's you. That's the issue. It's you, bro. It's you. And then we're gonna get into what happened on Twitter. So the reunion was filmed on last Saturday, and we're gonna talk about the whole situation that happened with Quick and Ashely and them versus Winter. But Winter got on Twitter and she said this, and I'll show the picture like I always do. And Winter said this: "How is it that you have to be reminded that you're speaking to a lady? I needed security." And then she hit the hashtag for the show, and then Monique quote tweets her and says this: "Now you know at DJ Quicksilver was referring to the new guy you've been with. Chris saying that to Quick was only to remind Quick that he can't speak to him through you. Don't do that. I'm not about to let you comfort Quick's character when you know what time it is." So then Ashely quote tweets that and says this: "Exactly. Quick stated multiple times, I'm talking to him, not you, because the he was in the same city on IG Live talking shit." And then she hit the hashtag for the show. So then Winter quote tweeted the tweet that Monique quote tweeted her, and Winter said this: "No one had to hold their husband back when they were talking to you. I was never disrespectful when addressing them." And then she hit the hashtag for the show. And this is my thing. One, Winter, Monique is not your friend. She's not an associate. She is not a confidant. She is nothing to you. She is now a co-worker if you choose to stay on this show, and move accordingly. Two, I'm with Winter, y'all. Like, we'll talk about that. I got that he wasn't talking to her, but had it been me, I would have cussed him out so clean. He would have been sitting on her. Ashely and him would have wanted to physically fight me, because I'd have made that man feel this small as he is already. Because there was no need for him to constantly like yell and her to get him. And then for Monique to feel so justified to do that, it's that whole like, I constantly feel like I have to prove myself. She does that with certain people. She did it on that other show where she realized that everybody was kind of on the outs with Candace, and then she wanted to turn the group against her, but then it flipped on her. And then it's now like, oh my gosh, everyone's against me. She's only doing this now because she wants to be cool with the gutter armies. Shout out to Winter. She wants to be cool with them, because there was no need for you to interject yourself in this. There was no need for you to feel like you had to take up for Quick, because you know for a fact, had you been Winter and your husband wasn't there and Ashely had to like put her hand on Quick and tell Quick to like chill out, you would feel some type of way. You would definitely feel some type of way. So cut that. Let's get into this review. Okay, y'all. So the episode opens up and we see everybody at the building for where they're going to film the reunion. Carlos is going to everybody's room. He's checking on them. He's like, how you feeling? He's just checking everybody's temperature. And within the first like 15 seconds, Monique threw Winter away. She just threw that lady away. She basically was like, we're not really friends like that. I don't even know why she's trying to paint this picture as like we're BFFs. She never really reaches out to me. I always have to reach out to her. And if we do reach out or we do talk, it's about contracts. It's never really about anything more than that. So I don't get why she's painting this picture that we're best friends. And I said, she's not painting this picture that y'all are best friends. She just said y'all were friends. And she never made mention that y'all were best friends. You are adding that extra sauce on top of it, as well as you introduced Winter as a friend. You even said we've known each other for 15 or 16 years, blase, like we're cool like that. And stuff like that. And me being someone that's in their 20s, like I'm still cool with people I talked to in high school. And are we friends like that? No, but like we hung out, we grew up in the same area. If I were to ever get on a reality show with them, I wouldn't just discard them like so quickly just because the people that I'm cool with don't like them. And it looks funny on you, Monique, because you always were talking about sisterhood, loyalty. We're a family, but the way you treat Winter isn't really family-like or sisterhood-like. It's just that you realize Winter can't do anything for you, so you're not, that friendship doesn't mean anything to you anymore. That's just what it is. Like, it's either one, if the person can't do something for you anymore, you move them to the side, or if you don't see any value in them, you move them to the side. And we've seen you do that twice on that other show. So we then see Carlos. Ooh, excuse me, y'all. We then see Carlos go to Ashely and Quick's room. Quick says Ashley's the star of the show. I don't think she's the star of the show. I think her and Winter are like neck and neck, but it did give Ashley a voice to like have her own lane. We then see him go to Jamie and Arena's room and he's like, y'all ready? Because I'm going to be asking the hard questions. And I will say is he really asked Jamie and Arena the most hard questions in my opinion, but maybe the next episode it might be a little bit better for them. Just a little bit. um and then he went to Winter. Winter was talking about, Twitter, how the Twitter people been going up for her and how like she's excited and you only live once, YOLO. So she don't really regret what she's done on the show. So it's now time for the reunion. I will say, to me, the best dress was Jamie and Arena. I think Arena looked lovely. Like, I didn't like her earrings though, but other than that, she looked lovely. Like the short cut with the gloves and like that beautiful, like it kind of, I forgot, it's like a V-neck, but it's like ruched together. She just looked good. And then I love Jamie's blazer because it wasn't really like matchy, but there was accents of gold on his, like glittery gold on his suit. And I was like, oh, that's how y'all are matching. I loved it. They look best dress. Next, I would probably say the next best dress. Well, not even. I'm not even leaving them best dress. I would say the next group would be Quick and Ashely. I didn't really like Ashley's dress in the sense of like I wish it was a different color, maybe like a autumn orange or a deep purple. But the Kelly green just didn't do it for me. She looked beautiful. Hair and makeup looked great. Quick didn't give us nothing as usual. Then it would be Monique and Chris. Monique's outfit, she looked pretty from like the waist up. Like I love the corseted dress with the embellishments and the beading, but the bottom of the dress was so plain and it gave pageant vibes. And I'm like, sis, you're at a reunion. And to me, Monique and Chris should have been the best dress. They should have like showed out. And the reason why is because you're supposed to be the anchor of the show. You keep saying people came to the show to see you. Why do you not look the best out of everybody on the cast? Like your husband didn't even put in any effort. All he got on is a black tuxedo. But that's what Chris does. But yeah, she still looked good. It's just like from the waist up, I was like, okay, wow. The dress bottom, I was like, that's so plain. That is so plain. And this is not a pageant. This is not Miss America, Miss USA, Miss DC, Miss Virginia, Miss Maryland. It's not that. It's not that. That's not what no, this is a reunion. You could have gave more. You definitely could have gave more. Winter, I'm glad Winter's head wasn't shaved. I'm glad that wasn't, because I hate that. I hate it. Hate it. But I liked her dress, but I didn't like her gloves. Where, like, I don't know, the gloves just hit for Arena, but they just didn't hit for Winter. They really just didn't hit for Winter. But let's get into this. So we start off the reunion, and Carlos asks Monique and Chris what it feels like to be back on the show. Like, how do they feel? And they, like, back on reality TV. And they both were like, we don't have any regrets. We find out that they really weren't talking to one another before they started filming. And now that they film, like, filming forced them to speak to each other and they feel like they're in a better space. Monique feels like some of her context was lost. Okay. But she understands how some people came to the conclusions that they had came to. Excuse me. Chris appreciated the show because it showed him the things that Monique was harping on for him to work on, and having a visual of himself, it made sense. So now he wants to change it. I will say Carlos King calling them reality royalty before they gave the montage reel of like them, Monique and Chris, throughout the season was straight up lies. It was straight up lies and fallacies in a crock-a-doodle, because what have they done to be ever referenced to as reality TV royalty? Other than that fight. And that fight wasn't even epic because you fought somebody who was weaker than you, who you knew wasn't going to be able to fight you back, where you should have been and you could have thrown hands with the green-eyed bandits, but you didn't want to touch them, but you touched her. So no, that fight wasn't as iconic as y'all like to make it seem. And that's all she did. She was on for 4 seasons. Seasons 2, 3, 4, and 5 and gave us nothing, and all she's remembered for is that fight, and it don't even hit the way y'all think it hits. And so it's just kind of like, royalty where? When I hear reality TV royalty, I'm thinking of like Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie, Tiffany Palmer, aka New York, Nene, shoot, Bethany, kinda Bethany, but you know she won the award. The kids off of Jersey Shore, Mob Wives. Monique could never with Mob Wives. Could never with Mob. So I'm just like, where, like, like where did he get reality TV royalty? So Carlos asked Chris, like, yo, so do you feel like as a black man, because you provide, that's all you need to do for your family? And Chris said, at the time I did, and he realizes that his family needs more. And Ashely and Quick chime in, and Ashley's like, I've been saying the same thing to Quick, like, we need more. Like, yes, you provide, yes, you do this, but I can get a job. I can do that, but I need to emotionally connect with you, or there's no purpose of this relationship like that. So he was like, I'm definitely going to work on it. And that's not even like, our relationship won't even be a topic for season 2 if we get a season 2. So they asked a question. I will say Carlos asked this one question, and this was the tea that I heard on episode 1 that I remember watching somebody's YouTube video. I wish I could remember the name, because I know I normally quote people if that's where I got the tea from. But he asked, people said you purposely, Monique and Chris said that Monique purposely came on this show to embarrass Chris and set up for a divorce. And they both were like, no, like, I wouldn't, no. The tea I heard was that they were legitimately about to, like, allegedly get a divorce. She was going on this show, and the only reason Chris filmed this show was because, I guess, in the divorce settlement, or if they were going to divorce, her being on this show and getting a consistent paycheck would lessen how much alimony he would have to pay to her, because she would have a consistent job, which would be this show. That's what I heard allegedly. All of that. But I remember watching somebody's video, and the people were saying that. Like, a lot of people were saying that, like, that was like a rumor going around in, like, the DMV streets. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's true, because I don't live in the DMV. But that's what I heard. So I was actually kind of like, oh crap, they really gonna ask that question? But they both laughed it off and was like, no. Like, we love each other. We were just in a bad place, and why would I ever? Like, never. It's never that. It's never that. Then we get on people saying that Monique needs to be kinder with her words, and she does. She does. Now, I got what she was saying when she went on that long diatribe about how people are so critical of black women, but so quick to protect black men. And people only care about black women when they are crying. But if they're not crying, they're being aggressive, blah, blah, blah. And she needs to be kinder. And like I said, I think she does. I think she does, because oftentimes when I see situations where women act a certain way, I normally flip it in my head. And I'm like, if a man were to do it to a woman and it's not cool, then why do you think it's okay for you to do that? And that, in my mind, it's normally like, yeah. Because I don't think her stating her concerns is the issue. It is the tone and the way in which she does it, because she seems like it. To me, it wasn't even nagging. People were like, oh, she's naggy. I'm like, to me, it just seemed like she was beating him down. It's like every time you go out with your friends, you speak about him negatively. And that's the part that turned me off. Like, I didn't even have a problem with her constantly voicing her concerns in the way she did. I did think she needed to switch up her tone. But I felt like when she would get with the other ladies and we would hear her make like subtle digs, like, yeah, I'm going to get Chris your book. Chris don't do nothing. Chris don't that. It was like, okay, keep that in-house. Talk to your actual friends or your family members or your brother about this. But to go out and have it on TV, if the roles were reversed and Chris was talking negatively about Monique, and I would be just as mad, because I'm like, y'all got married. Y'all are supposed to be a unit. Y'all are supposed to be a team. Like, don't be out here talking negatively about your teammate. Like, that's what's counseling for. Y'all make enough money where y'all could go to counseling. Like, you can go to Terry and you can take your ass to counseling. Why not do that? So then we get on to Quick and Ashely segment. They talk about how like they went to Jamaica for Mocha Fest. These girls saw Quick and they went up to him and they were like, "Oh my gosh, are you DJ Quicksilver?" And they were like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Oh snap, you're Ashley's husband." So now he's like, "Yeah, now I'm Ashley's husband." They talk about Quick never being taught to be emotional. So he went on a timeline of all the crazy crap he been through, where he was like, at 10, his mom died. At 13, he got shot. And at 18, his dad died. And he was just kind of like, I was always taught never to cry, never to show weakness, never to show emotions. And then he shared this story about how his son didn't make the basketball team. And he was tearing up and he was about to like have a moment. And Quick was like, "Man, get over it." And Ashley had to stop him and be like, "Don't do that because that's not right. He's allowed to feel his emotions." And Carlos was like, "Are you trying to raise your son like you? Or are you trying to be better?" And she was like, "No." Both of them even said, but Quick was like, "No, I'm trying to make him better. I don't want him to feel like he can't be vulnerable or he can't voice his opinions or feel his emotions." So he said that like his son was in his room, and Quick went up to his room and he basically hugged him and the little boy started crying, and Quick didn't cry in front of him, but he realized that his son at first didn't want to cry in front of him because I guess Quick has always had this demeanor like you don't cry. So now he's trying to make sure that his son is like in touch with his emotions. And my thing is like it's good to break the cycle. It's good. I mean, unfortunately, Quick has been through a lot. His mom passed away at 10 and he never probably was able to like physically and really deal with it, because holding in all that sadness, that does something to your body. And then to get shot at 13 and then your dad die at 18 and you never really grieved that's a lot on somebody. And he said Ashley was really like the first person to ever like hug him and let him know everything was going to be okay. And that's sad. That's sad that he didn't have people in his life who cared enough about him to really want to make sure he was okay. That just like that just sucks. So we get more into Ashley and Quick, and basically we find out again Ashley wouldn't have married Quick so young. It seems like they got married at 21, which I'm surprised because a lot of people I know got married at 21, and by the time they hit 22 or 23, it was a wrap. And Ashley was like, a lot of her friends were in college, living their best lives, and here I was 21 with a house and a husband. And she also talked about how like she probably had been depressed since she had her first, like her son, but it really came hard when she had Ashton. And she was just kind of like how Quick would be out on the road doing what he was doing, but I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to like take a class, and someone would be like, "Oh, who's gonna watch your kids?" And I'm like, "Girl, daycare. If he's out here making money, I would hope y'all should have sent them kids to daycare, and you should have went to school, or hell, take them to school with you." Do you know how many classes I've been in where people have brought in baby carriages, and or their like 2 or 3 year old daughter or son put some headphones on, like they was watching a YouTube video or something, or coloring, and teachers were fine with it because they let them know ahead of time. Like there's ways in which you can get your education. Like gone are the days where you can like blame kids for why you aren't successful. And I'm not saying that she didn't have that option, because I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult, but I'm just kind of like, you got options, Ashley. You got options now. So if you want to go back, definitely go back. I remember being like, you can be in school. Like people will be in school in their 50s and 60s who are like, they didn't have that opportunity when they were younger, and they want that opportunity now, and they taking it and they're happy. You could do it too, sis. You could do it too. So then we get to Jamie and Arena. Quick was asking like difficult questions when it came to the Jamie and Arena conversation. So I will say they asked pretty hard questions that I was surprised that they asked. They asked if Jamie was controlling, was Arena in an abusive relationship? Does Jamie feel like Arena has painted this narrative that he's like a mean, insensitive person? He said yes. And I was just kind of shocked that these were the questions that Carlos King was asking. the most uncomfortable part about that whole segment is when Jamie said he created Arena and Arena co-signed. When I tell you my skin crawled and my stomach started turning, I was like, bro, you're not God. How'd you make her? And I'll give Jamie credit that he paid off her debt because he didn't have to do that. But to be like, the lady you see here, I created her. And then for not for Carlos to ask Arena, like, do you think he made you? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, gross. Gross. And I was just like, really, bro? Really? Then they bring up the whole like cheating and infidelity situation, and what we find out is that like it happened like 10 or 15 years ago. And I guess they were maybe like in their 20s, but they've known each other. Arena and Jamie have known each other since they were teens. But what they found out is what we find out is that Arena was talking to like 3 different dudes. One of the dudes he actually like knew, like had a relationship with, and it triggered Jamie because during that time Jamie was like that was the darkest part of their marriage for him, and he was like, I was willing to go to jail. But you can tell that the only reason Arena did what she did was a response to Jamie being out at all hours of the night and not responding to her text messages or her phone calls. So she basically felt like, bro, you out here doing things you have no business doing anyway if you can't communicate with me the way you're supposed to or the way a married man should. So why not let me get my lick back? So I think Arena was probably preparing herself just in case she needed to get her lick back, which I'm not mad at. I'm not mad. I just thought it was weird for Carlos to ask Jamie, do you think Arena has created this narrative about you? And I mean, she kind of has, but she kind of hasn't. Like, we're all going off of what Jamie has given us and what their kids have said. All the kids have said that, like, if it's not his way, it's the highway. Even your youngest son was like, I don't want to be a DJ, and you wanted to force him to do it, and you got very mad at him when all he wanted to do was be a part of a program that would set him up as an adult to live on his own. And you didn't show, like, you showed you showed yourself very negatively, man. Then they end up talking about the whole situation where they were at Arena's best friend's party, and they were arguing outside of the party, and Arena left. And Quick even said, I told Jamie he was in the wrong because you never argue with your wife in front of mixed company. Like, you do that stuff at home, you present a united front. They also talk about the whole, like, grabbing of the face. And Jamie was just like, I was only grabbing her face to get her attention. Honestly, I don't like when anybody does that to anyone. I don't like when parents do it to kids. I don't like when adults do it to each other. It's like, especially if it's different when it's not aggressive. Like if it's just like you're trying to kiss somebody or you're playfully trying to get their attention. But like when you do it in like an aggressive manner and to do it in front of people while she's having her moment and hyped up, it was condescending and it was like embarrassing. And Jamie was just trying to say like, oh, I was really just trying to get her attention because once Arena get hyped, she get hyped, and I just wanted to change the subject to something else. And I get that, but you could have found a better way. Winter finally comes out. She sits down and she has a fan that says, I'm a friend of the show. She says she enjoyed being a part of the show. And then things get heated. They talk about her now being a spiritual life counselor or a life coach and a minister. And she's like, I've always been a minister. I've always been a life coach. I dibbled and dabbled into being a relationship coach, but really I'm a spiritual life coach and a minister. So then Ashely brings out like these tweets. Not tweets. I think one of them asked, either it was Carlos King or Ashely brought it up because Ashely had her own props and it said aggressive Ashely. She had her own notes. And Ashely said this on May the 22nd. And I guess this was the day after the second episode of the season. And Ashely said this: you can fake in front for these Twitter streets all you want to. Stop hiding behind I'm a minister, I'm saved. You're a hypocrite is what you are, with terrible judgment. You should try to play with someone safer. I'm not the one. And it was like dash 100. See you at the reunion and she said Winter's at name. So Winter said this, and I don't think she was responding to Ashely. She was just saying this about Ashely because this was Ashely got mad about this. where Winter was saying, I think the funny part about Ashely coming for me is that I'm not a relationship coach. I dibbled and dabbled in it for years. I'm an author, a public speaker, a minister. So again, my mean girl statement is valid. Speak your mind, just base it on facts. And the truth is, I think Winter forgot that she said that she was a relationship coach, because you did say that. You did say you were a relationship coach. You could tell that Winter probably didn't think a lot of the things that she was saying about the ladies would come back to her. And that's the downside of reality TV, when you're not truly like ready for it, or really like an avid watcher of it, because anybody would know anything you say is always going to be thrown back at you, always gonna be thrown back at you. Monique tries to interject and tries to say, like, Winter hyped up the conversation, blah blah blah. But it was like the situation wasn't needed for you to get into the mix, Monique. You interjected yourself, and now you're trying to act like Winter is just all this drama. She's all of this and that. But the truth of the matter, without Winter, y'all wouldn't have a season. A lot of people think this show is boring as hell, and low key it is. I enjoyed it to a certain extent, but if we gonna call it a spade, compared to your predecessors, y'all are nothing. Y'all ain't even scratching the surface of having the type of fandom that Huntsville has. And I don't think it's ever gonna be that, but let's not act without Winter. Y'all wouldn't really have entertainment value of this show. So then the whole gutter Barbie comment comes up. I will say, I'll give Ashely a point, and I'm going to give Winter a point. Ashely asks, like, how are we mean girls? Because you're the one calling us gutter Barbies, calling my husband DJ Fun Size, Red Light Special, blah, blah, blah. Just because you don't cuss doesn't mean that, like, what you're saying isn't to the same extent of what we're saying when we cuss, which I give her that. I'll give Ashely that. That is true. But for Ashely to say it doesn't matter how I delivered what I'm saying, it does matter. It does matter. Even if you were stating facts, everyone always says it's like common knowledge. It's not what you say, it's how you said it. If you would have said it in a different manner, maybe Winter wouldn't have got triggered and then felt the need to come back at you. And let's not act like y'all weren't shading Winter since episode 1. You were at the ladies' event, well, at Monique's event, while Winter was talking about you're bored. You're bored. You and Arena. So let's not pretend like Winter just came out the gate off rip hating on you. You started the hate, man. You started the issue. So she's going off. We then have the moment that I was talking about in the little gossip section where we were talking about it, where Ashely is just yelling at Winter, going off on Winter, talking about, you brought up my husband, blah, 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 you're low. And she called Winter a bitch, and Winter's like, well, that's very low of you. And Ashely's like, how am I low? How am I low? And then all of a sudden, it's like quick snapped out and was calling Winter the B word, but it really wasn't directed at Winter. They brought up how Winter has a new boyfriend, and I guess the boyfriend was on IG Live talking trash with Winter about the show. And they was like, and Quick was like, if I see him in the streets, tell him to be ready. He a B. And he's like lunging at Winter. Chris has to be like, yo, that's a lady. Like, remember that, like, calm down. Because we already know, Chris, you got ate all the way up with the way you reacted when it came to Giselle, Robin, and Candace, talking about if you were transgender, you would slap them. So let's not play these games. You knew what it was. And I mean, I guess he learned his lesson, so he's trying to help his little friend out. But on some real, the fact that Ashely had to keep like holding him back says a lot. Like, bro, the man you want to have this energy for isn't here. Why are you directing it towards Winter? Why? And had I been Winter, when I tell you, oh, they would want to fight me. They would have wanted to fight Leah, because I would, if I know the tea that I know, because Winter is saying like, yo, I've heard rumors. I've seen text messages. I've seen pictures, and I can back it up. I've heard them rumors. So let's not play these games. And I promise y'all, I would start airing people out so quick. I'd be like, when I would just start saying the names of the girls that I know you've been with. And my thing is, Winter could be telling a lie, but the reactions that we are getting from Jamie and Arena, especially Quick and Ashely, lets me know that this whole like, oh, we've cheated way back in the past is a lot more fresher than they like to let on. Because the way that man was acting, the way, and it made me look at Quick like he was a bitch. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, because had a man been sitting by winner and that man be like, lower your voice, I don't think Quick would have been given this type of energy, because there was no need for someone to have to for his wife to have to like tap him and be like, yo, chill. And then they'd be like, he a B, 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 B. I was like, how many times you gonna call this man a B? You ain't got any other colorful words. You can't call him a mother effer. You can't call him a bastard. Like, you ain't got no other words, bro. No other words. It was a mess. But yeah, y'all, that is my review for part 1 of the reunion. Let me know your thoughts. Drop down below. And remember to be bravely authentic. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.